national conference where state policing was such a big topic and something that has gone on from then on. Your Excellency, it's really good to have your remarks on this very important issue. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Last born, so enjoying the privilege of the last born. And even Buhari that I just finished, he will take his military position, so he's still senior to me. Until when my good friend Tinubu finishes, then I will have a junior brother. So thank you so much. His Excellency, Mr. President, here represented by the Vice President, my good friend, thank you for coming. The Senate President, represented by the Deputy Senate President, thank you for your brilliant speech. And our Chief Host, the Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for bringing us together to have this conversation. His Excellency General Abdulsalami Abubakar, the former head of state, and somebody who navigated the current democratic setting and has endured for 25 years because of your good works. Thank you so much. We appreciate, we really need to listen to you. The Deputy Speaker and Principal Officers of the National Assembly are here with us, and members of the National Assembly. The Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, thank you for coming. We really want to listen to you because the issue of state police is very critical. Honorable ministers are here with us, members of the diplomatic corps, the Chief of Defense Staff and the Inspector General of Police being represented. His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, thank you for coming. His Imperial Majesty, the Oni of Ife, thank you for coming. And other revered royal fathers are here with us. Our dear leader, John Cardinal Lancor, thank you for being here, and other clergymen that are here with us. There are so many retired and former senior government functionaries that are here. I wouldn't bother you to enumerate their names. But in the waiting room, I saw General Dambaza, who was my Chief of Army Staff, then later became Minister of Defense, who will listen to you. And Solomon Arase, Dr. Solomon Arase, who was my Inspector General of Police. And I think now the Chairman of the Police Service Commission, you're still there. And other very senior military people, government functionaries that are here to talk. I will be extremely brief in my intervention. First and foremost, let me thank the Honorable Speaker, members of the committee, and indeed the House of Rep for inviting me to participate in this national dialogue on state policing. In fact, I got information only yesterday when I had a conversation with the speaker. It would have been difficult for me to come, but since I left office, I've been having a number of programs, and the National Assembly have always been there to support me. And this is the first time the National Assembly invited me, so I said I will do everything, cancel all my other programs to come and honor you. In fact, the issue today, national dialogue on state policing, is very critical. But one thing is that we don't need to debate on whether we should have state police or not. I think that matter has been concluded. The issue is the operations of the police. I operated at the state level for 8 years, deputy governor, then came to the center, vice president, president for another 8 years. And I know that in Bayelsa State and other states that attempted to have some element of security operatives that assisted the police, it worked very well. In Bayelsa State, when we took over, the state was almost ungovernable. Abdulsalami will remember that when the elections were to be conducted in December 1999, Colonel Edo will be then wrote to you saying the security situation in Bayelsa State was so bad that couldn't guarantee the elections in December 98. So our elections were pushed to January 99. When we took over, the state was in crisis. Niger Delta agitation was there, but criminal elements were also operating all the creeks and were doing all kinds of havoc to market women and others until Alamisi, then my boss, has to set up the Bayelsa volunteers that work with police. And we had to build stations around the critical parts of the creeks. And the boys volunteered to work with the police since they couldn't carry weapons. And that brought the excessive piracy down. So there's no way we can manage our internal security if states will not have their police. So the issue is not states having police, but how will the state police function vis-a-vis the national security architecture? When I set up the 2014 National Dialogue, within that period, we have a lot of challenges in the country. People were agitating so many areas. But when we set up that dialogue, one thing that the whole almost 500 delegates agreed without much ado was the issue of state police. When that matter came up, everybody supported the issue of state police. So we cannot move away from state police. I remember the issue of state police was accepted. The issue of national border force was also accepted. Then the issue of Coast Guard was also accepted. And the National Assembly, while you are debating or conducting a public hearing on the state police, these issues of national border force must be considered. Because we said that, yes, the immigration and the customs carry weapons, and they are the border controls, but they cannot play the role of national border guards, because those are control routes. The customs and immigration stay in the control routes. Criminal elements don't pass those control routes. They pass through the borders at different points. It is only when we have a national border force that will be able to contain these elements. And most of the customs and the immigration, though they carry weapons, but they were not sufficiently trained to confront these criminal gangs. I was in the customs for 2 years before I entered the university, and I know the training given to us was not enough for you to confront these criminal gangs. So these issues must be integrated with the issue of state police. Could the state police also, for the riverine areas like the Niger Delta, also play that role of coast guards? Could the one in the boundary areas also play the role of the national border force? This will surely help the country. We are not going to debate, and we should not waste our time debating whether we should have state police or not. Listening to the speaker, he gave the history. Even in this country, we operated it before. Why is that the military scrapped it? Because of the abuse. And that is the area we should concentrate on. How do we manage the state police and it will not be abused by state political actors? If state political actors are abusing the state police and using the state police to harass and make life miserable for people who don't belong to their political parties, could the commander-in-chief sit down and watch? Or will he order the military to go and overrun the state police? Of course, that will bring crisis in the country. So I think the key areas that we have to debate is how do we run the state police vis-a-vis the national security architecture of the country. And these things need to be done carefully. Luckily, there are so many countries that have this. We also experimented it before during the First Republic. And the relevant committee members who travel to this country or understudy them or get it from the Google or read from the literature. Because it is very critical. That is the area we are worried. This matter would have come up even much earlier than now, even when I was in office. But what we were worried was that, look, even in local government elections, even in cosmopolitan states, other parties, if the governor is from party A, you see people in party B and C will win elections as senators, will even win elections as House of Rep, will win some state assembly elections, but they come to local government chairman and councillor, the least no other party wins. It's only the party that produced the governor that will clear all the councillors. It's not possible. So if we're talking about state police, we must also rejig INEC. And the police must not be used against or to the advantage of any political party that by divine providence happens to be the governor of the state. So the issue of the voting, the polling booths of INEC, and the use of the police during elections has to be reviewed by the National Assembly. In fact, even the polling units we use for our voting, this is the only country I've visited that have isolated polling units. Most other countries have gone to observe elections. They have polling centers. They take primary school or secondary school. And within that polling center, you may have 5 to 10 polling units within the polling center. I just came back from Senegal, then from Pakistan. You see the police are always at the gate. They don't even go into the compound. They don't go near where voting was taking place. The citizens were also disciplined enough not to behave in a way that will attract the police. We must find a way to make the use of police for electoral purposes very, very limited. Not what we hear today, that security operatives assist in ballot stuffing or snatching or things that way. So the National Assembly need to look into all this. I think these are the areas that we have to concentrate. The issue of the need for states to have their own police is not negotiable. There's no way we can continue this kidnapping that is going on in this country. It is for this commercial kidnapping started about 2006. I don't want to go into that history when I was the governor of Bayelsa State. But it started in the Niger Delta. Now it has been a commercial venture all over the country. And we've not been able to control it. The only thing that can help us, if we cannot stop it completely, but at least to reduce it to the barest minimum, is for states to have their police. And while making the law, sometimes we'll say, okay, the state police should have limited weapons. The caliber of weapons the police should have in the state should be limited. That is an area that must also be we must be careful with. I'm not expecting states to have rockets, missiles, but the conventional weapons, if you look at the caliber of weapons criminals use, the states must have superior weapons, or at least equal. If you make the states to have weapons that are inferior to the ones that the criminals are using, then you're asking their police to commit suicide in the field. You cannot give your police a weapon that will kill at maybe 50 meters range. Then the criminal has a weapon that will kill 100-meter range. Then you are not doing anything. So we must not even go there in terms of limiting the capacity of the state police. A state that has enough resources must equip the police very well. And that state can also assist other states. I remember in East Southern Africa, you see a country like Rwanda sometimes send their military to assist other countries when they have crisis. So a state that has a little more money and equip the police very well can also send assistance to another state that have major challenges. It's a national challenge. And if you don't crush the challenge that state has, those criminal elements will one day come to your state. So wherever it is happening, the states should come together. Luckily, the chairman of this governors forum is here, he will speak, can work together. That is the best way we can protect this nation and Nigerians, and everybody has anything to do in Nigeria will live at peace. I thank you all.
Distinguished guests.
To the challenges to public peace and safety, there has been clamor for the establishment of state control police to complement the activities of Nigerian police force, several arguments have been made to the need for the establishment of state police. Some argued that the Nigerian police force is not living up to expectation in providing the necessary security for the citizenry. Others are of the view that police presence is not felt in many parts of the country, especially in areas requiring security, such as schools, communities, etc. Some contended that even the cities, police presence is mostly felt in areas dominated by the rich. Others still argue that police performance is generally minimal, hence there is insecurity in the country. These and many other reasons have propelled the proponents of state police. The question that needs to address is, what are the challenges militating against police effective performance in Nigeria? These challenges are: 1, inadequate manpower; 2, inadequate operational equipment such as vehicles, arms and ammunition, communication equipment, drones, area surveillance, security surveillance, helicopters, armored vehicles, and so on and so forth. Inadequate training of personnel. Training and retraining is vital to achieve optimum performance. This has not been possible over the years due to underfunding or lack of funds for training of personnel. Inadequate office and barrack accommodation. Most police stations and barracks that were built since the colonial period have not undergone any form of renovation despite increase in the strength of the force. This has impacted negatively on performance of the personnel. On the issue of state police, it is the submission of the leadership of the Nigerian police force that Nigeria is yet to mature and ready for the establishment of state-controlled police. This is due to the underlying reasons. 1, there is no adequate resources in place for police infrastructure, such as police colleges, training schools, barracks, police stations, clinics, vehicles, communication equipment for the state governments. Again, there are potential for abuse of power by state political leadership. State governors could use police forces under their control for political or personal gain and undermine human rights and security.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Okay.
Correct this, please.
Please, I beg your pardon. I want to correct this. The President of Nigeria, ably represented by distinguished Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, the Vice President of Nigeria. I beg your pardon. Furthermore, creating state police at the moment will exacerbate ethnic tension in the country. It could equally lead to potentials for divided loyalty, as there will be multiple commands in the states. There will also be conflict of jurisdiction. The dynamism and sophistication of crime in modern time is bound by capabilities of states to handle. We have incidences of terrorism, banditry, and these crimes are of very high caliber and requires a lot of resources. In view of this, the police leadership rather is recommending the following. Instead of creating state police, first merging this Nigerian security and Civil Defense Corps and Federal Road Safety to form department under the Nigerian Police. 2, the yearly recruitment of police personnel into the force should be increased by at least 30,000 every year to meet the United Nations minimum standard of policing of 450 citizens to 1 police officer. Thirdly, increase in the budgetary allocation to the Nigerian police force to enable it to procure adequate operational equipment. Furthermore, improve training of personnel in modern policing to enhance capabilities and efficiency. Finally, to amend the constitutional provision, section 214 of 1999 Constitution as amended, relating to the establishment of Nigerian Police Force to include a new section that reads thus: the Federation shall, subject to the Act of National Assembly made in that behalf, fund, equip, and maintain the Nigerian Police Force as may be considered adequate and effective for the purpose of internal security, being the lead agency in internal security. Finally, I'll say that the police force, being the lead agency and a critical stakeholder in these security issues, wishes us, all of us, a good deliberation. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Nigeria Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON.
Please, you kindly sit down, please. Thank you so much. He holds BSc Political Science and LLB Law from UNIBEN and UNN and Uni Abuja. He was variously the AIG Zone 16 covering Rivers and Bayelsa. He was CP Bayelsa State. And of course, he was DCP Post Investigation Bureau, DCP Special Prod Unit, and of course, head of IGP Monitoring Unit, and trained at the Interpol College in France. So to commit a slip actually is not a mistake, but it's only a man of courage that can rise to the occasion and correct himself with dignity. And His Excellency, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, his name was modeled up for a greater part of 10 years. He was variously a deputy governor, a vice president. Some were calling him Goodluck Jonathan. Some were calling him Jonathan Goodluck, until he became the president, and Nigerians got to know that his full names are Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan. And for the Right Honorable Speaker to address me as his junior brother is right in order. He was born on 1st October 1963. He is 6 years old. I'm just 57 years old. So it's right for him to address me. The chief host, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Dr. Tajuddin Abbas. His Excellency, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chairman of this occasion, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR. His finest hour came not when he was the president. His finest hour was when the nation was at a precipice. When the nation was at a point of implosion, he elected to choose the path of honor, of integrity. That concession speech transformed him into a global statesman. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I was your sparring partner when I was the governor of Borno State, and discretion is the better part of valor. I was asked variously by so many media houses to grant interviews on the 10th anniversary of the Chibok girls' abduction. But out of respect and decorum to this gentleman, I declined respectfully to grant any interview. And of course, another elder statesman who could have effortlessly transmuted into a civilian dictator. But he again elected to side with history, to side with honor, and midwife the fastest transition in Nigerian political history. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, join me in thanking General Abdul Salami Alhaji Abubakar, GCFR. He is a diaspora Kanuri just like Usman Bello Kumo. The Deputy President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Barrow Ibrahim Jibrin, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, and other principal officers of the Federal House of Representatives present here, members of the Federal House of Representatives, too numerous to mention, the Honorable Minister of Police Affairs, Senator Dr. Ibrahim Gaidam, and other honorable ministers present here, special advisors and senior aides to the President, permanent secretaries, directors general and heads of extra ministerial agencies and parastatals, representatives of service chiefs, head of security and parliamentary agencies of government, the organizers and supporters of this event, especially Her Excellency the Ambassador of Germany to Nigeria, Ambassador Annette Gunther, the country representative of the United Nations Development Program, Mrs. Elsie Atapua, the Executive Director of Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, Mr. Clement Nwanko, and of course, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, other members of the diplomatic corps, our father, who has become a permanent fixture in all our engagements, His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, His Imperial Majesty, the Owner of Ife, Oba Adeye Anetan Ogunwuse, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zazzau, Ambassador Ahmed Nuhu Bamali, His Royal Highness, although I couldn't register his presence, but I have to recognize him in absentia, the Obi of Onisha, other royal fathers present here, and our religious leaders, most especially His Eminence, John Cardinal Olorumpemi Onaikan, Metropolitan Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja, elder statesmen and captains of industry, members of the academia present, members of the fourth estate of the Rim, honored guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I will not add that I have observed all protocol like the Minister of Police Affairs said, because I have gone through all the protocol lists. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, honorable members of the House of Representatives, esteemed stakeholders and all participants, I am delighted to be a part of this important national dialogue focusing on reimagining policing in Nigeria and the best ways for reforming and strengthening the institution of the police. This dialogue has been convened under the auspices of our esteemed Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, the People's House, to engage in a dialogue that holds the promise of transformative change for our nation's policing policies and practices. I would like to begin by extending my heartfelt gratitude to the Speaker and the members of the House of Representatives for organizing this national dialogue. Your leadership in bringing us together to address the crucial issue of state policing underscores your commitment to the security and well-being of our citizens. This initiative is not only timely, but also speaks to the commitment of the legislative arm to addressing critical national issues through inclusive discussion and collaborative governance. This government, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is acutely aware of the complex security issues that our country faces. As such, we are continually developing and refining our strategies and methods to address these challenges effectively. Today's dialogue is critical to these efforts, providing a platform for robust discussion and innovative thinking regarding the decentralization and reform of our policing structure. The President deserves commendation for his openness and proactive stance towards the idea of reforming and decentralizing the police force. His Excellency, Mr. President, firmly believes that the path to effective security is through adaptive reforms catering to our diverse nation's unique needs and circumstances. This can only be achieved by carefully reviewing various models and options best suited to Nigeria's context. This thoughtful and inclusive approach will guide us towards a policing system that is both effective and respectful of the rights and dignity of all citizens. It gladdens my heart that the 10th House of Representatives, under the Speaker, Right Honorable Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, has keyed into this initiative of the President. The involvement of the legislature in executive reform proposals ensures continuity and synergy. Let us use this opportunity to engage and explore every option with the seriousness and diligence they demand. The President is committed to listening to your recommendations and insights, invaluable to shaping the policies that will lead us towards a more secure and just society. The concept of state policing is not merely a policy proposal, but a potential milestone in the evolution of our law enforcement framework. It offers the possibility of tailoring law enforcement more closely to the diverse needs of our communities. As we discuss and debate its merits and challenges, let us remember our collective values and diversity. As Vice President, I am deeply invested in the outcomes of today's discussions. The insights we gain will inform our administration's approach to supporting legislation that not only enhances the capacity of our police force, but also strengthens the bonds of trust between law enforcement and the public. In our deliberations, let us consider the implications of state policing from multiple perspectives. We must evaluate its potential to improve response times to emergencies, adapt to specific local challenges, and increase accountability. At the same time, we must address concerns related to the standardization of training, oversight, and the safeguarding of civil liberties. Our dialogue today should also be seen as an opportunity to listen, understand, and propose solutions that bridge gaps. It is essential that this forum is not the end, but the beginning of an ongoing conversation on the issue of police and security sector reform in our country. The theme of today's dialogue is a pivotal aspect of our national discourse. It reflects a collective recognition of the need for a more localized, responsive, and effective law enforcement framework. The broad-based nature of the stakeholders gathered here today, from government officials, security experts, religious and traditional leaders, to civil society representatives, underscores the comprehensive approach to ensure that diverse perspectives are heard and integrated into the policy-making process. As we proceed with today's sessions, I urge each participant to engage with openness, honesty, and insight. The value of this dialogue lies in its ability to harness unbiased and constructive criticism and suggestions from all quarters. Your contributions today are not merely academic or theoretical discussions. They are the building blocks of the transformative reforms we aspire to implement. Let me conclude by extending, Mr. President, gratitude to all participants for your dedication to the cause of national security and reform. Your expertise and perspectives are essential in navigating the future. I also wish to reiterate the President's readiness to support and implement meaningful reforms that will emerge from this dialogue. The commitment of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reform the police force and enhance security at both the national and state levels is unwavering. We view the outcomes of today's deliberations as crucial inputs that will guide government's actions towards reforming the institutions of the police and achieving a safer and more secure Nigerian. Thank you for your attention, and may our discussions today be fruitful and lead to enduring positive impacts on our nation's policing and security architecture. With these remarks, on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I am honored and delighted to formally declare this dialogue open. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON Vice President of the Federal.
The Right Honorable Speaker, and please can I have a chair? Thank you. Permission to sit down. Let me thank the Right Honorable Speakers and members of the National Assembly for indeed organizing this dialogue. As we know, and as the speakers earlier spoken, Nigeria has been having a rough ride for the last 10 years or so, and the insecurity involved. I want to thank President Jonathan for what he has said. Why I have not brought up any paper? Because he has taken the wind out of my sail. I want to thank you for that elaborate speech you made. All I will add is that in order to make peace and security in any nation, the governance must be transparent, honesty, accountability, and all that it takes to make citizens comfortable in order to go on their daily business to earn their legitimate earnings. Again, having said that, the citizens of any country have got citizens' responsibility. And that responsibility is to ensure the maintenance of peace and order. And this can be done by obeying the Constitution, laws and orders, regulation set up by the government, and ensure that there is equity in the maintenance of issues provided by the various government. Indeed, our royal fathers have a lot of responsibility in ensuring the maintenance of peace and order. As a young child growing up in a rural community, we see the role of these royal fathers in the various arm of, in quote, their government, where if a stranger enters a village, within hours, the village head knows about that stranger, and through their means of communication, the emir is aware. I think as much as we are talking of establishing state police, we should also look into the role vis-a-vis of our royal fathers. President Jonathan has mentioned the relationship of what I will change to say the politicians vis-a-vis the local police if we decide to have them. It is absolutely necessary the politicians, as much as possible, should avoid exerting influence on the ways the police is going to operate, if at all we agree to have the police. Although President Jonathan has already concluded that is the operational standard that we are going to discuss. I think we must really give it a thought to how to operationalize these police if we decide to have them. Again, let me thank the Right Honorable Speaker for the invitation extended to us. And let me thank, through the Vice President, President Tinubu, for what has been happening since he assumed office. It has not been easy, and although the economy is biting and a lot of insecurity has taken place, I really sympathize with your government for the inheritance you inherited. But the good Lord will continue to guide, protect Nigeria, and I'm absolutely sure in no distant future we'll overcome our difficulties. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. Once more, another round of applause for His Excellency, former Head of State, General Abdulsalami Abubakar